The Suzuki Katana was a groundbreaking machine in its time that proved to be one of the most successful production motorcycles styled by an outside design house. It is a bike with a story that many of you have heard before, but well worth repeating. The Katana project actually began in Germany with a company called Target Design in 1979, who were hired by Suzuki to improve on the GS1000. The glaring reality that a bike, no matter how well made and powerful, without some aesthetic design features just won't sell. Suzuki, being the smallest of the Japanese manufacturers, knew they needed to adapt in a big way or face some financial troubles. In comes ex-BMW designers George Kosten, Hans Muth, and Jan Fellstrom to overhaul the Suzuki lineup in Europe. A year later, with the green light from Suzuki, the Katana appeared at the Intermot show in Cologne in May of 1980. The production examples appeared a year later with only a few changes from the show bike, thanks to Fellstrom and Kosten staying in Japan to oversee the initial production. While the rest of the world got the 1100cc version, this Katana was powered by a 997cc 16-valve 4-cylinder that made an impressive 90 horsepower at 8,500 RPM and breathed through 32mm smoothbore Mikuni carburetors. The drivetrain of the Katana is quite solid and reliable, and not much tends to go wrong with it, but it did have occasional transmission problems. The Katana achieved a top speed of 140 miles per hour in a quarter-mile time somewhere around 11 seconds. But at 556 pounds, the Katana is quite heavy by modern standards, and its anti-dive system did little to offer comfort. The American market got around 2,500 of these bikes in 1982, which were distributed roughly 2 per dealership as part of a homologation program to make them eligible for superbike racing. And for $4,500 in the day, this was a great bike to have. Today, over 40 years after its debut in the US, the Suzuki Katana looks surprisingly current. Its shark nose, quarter fairing, and round angular tank are modern and purposeful, and similar to many of today's sport bikes. Its race-spec cockpit was way ahead of its time, with real clip-ons and a trick instrument panel that had the needles going in opposite directions. The rear twin-shock, 19-inch front wheel, skinny fork tubes, and big, wide inline 4 show its age and help underline the fact that Katana was more of a styling exercise than a technological breakthrough. After all, under that bodywork is just a detuned GS1100, and looks and feels like any other UJM. But for me, this bike did something that many Japanese manufacturers couldn't quite pull off in the 80s. It grabbed your attention and made you look twice, and that is all that Suzuki needed. The bike had the power like its competitors, but it needed to stand out. It was a mix of muscle and individualistic idealism that was starting to wane from the European custom scene. It was the result of unstrained design over function, which for the Japanese company was something new. Its resounding success was noted even in the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit at the Guggenheim. While many found their way onto the racetrack, this one was hiding in the back of an old dealership. We found it in 2004, brand new. Today it has less than 3 push miles on it.